Right, let's pick up on the news we covered earlier that the Agriculture Minister Doko Didiza is banning the movement of all cattle throughout the country for 3 weeks due to the outbreak of foot and mouth disease. It's been identified in 116 locations across 6 provinces. I'm joined now by the CEO of the Red Meat Producers Organisation, Gerhard Schutte. Mr. Schutte, thank you very much for your time. We spoke to the Agriculture Minister earlier. She said it's the worst outbreak she's seen. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely so. You know, we lost our foot and mouth disease-free status 3 years ago, and since then we just went backwards in terms of fighting this disease. Over the last 2 weeks, 15 more premises, 2 more provinces, so we are desperate.
What's gone wrong? She has spoken about the fact that people are moving cattle illegally. We know, of course, there's an issue of stock theft. But what for you is at the heart of this problem? Why has it got so out of control?
I call it smuggling of the virus. You know, we have buffer zones next to the Kruger Park where cattle doesn't have the same price. And I think a lot of that came from there. We failed as government and as industry to fix it.
How did we fail?
Well, the control measures, I think, could have been much better. So now we need a turnaround strategy. We must always remember that this is a controlled disease. So the minister makes the calls in this regard, and we will hopefully tomorrow see the Gazette in this regard. And hopefully we can, with this turnaround strategy, start getting our bilateral trading partners back, because we have big dreams for the livestock industries in terms of the future. And foot and mouth is standing in the way. We all know that foot and mouth does not have any impact on human health, but it's a disease that impacts very, very severely on trade in livestock and livestock produce.
The Minister told us that it's also led to the banning of some meat exports. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and the financial impact it's having?
If you look at the beef industry in South Africa, we export about 4% of what we produce. That doesn't sound a lot, but if you lose it, it is really hurting the local farmers. And that has, in some cases now, came to a standstill. And that's why we need a turnaround strategy in order to get there. And I think the turnaround strategy is much the same as we see in Eskom and Transnet. The industry has to take hands with government and turn this one around. I think we have to relook at our status. Currently, we have a status of not to vaccinate. I think we will have to move in terms of an international state as a country that do vaccinate. We need vaccines to be locally produced. Some of that must come from the private sector. We need more labs. And then I think we will be in a position to manage this disease.
A little more detail, if you would, on the beef exports. Has every country we export beef to now banned us at the moment, or not?
No. When we 3 years ago lost our status, every country banned us, and then it was a hard road towards bilaterals. Currently, we're back in 26 countries, of which only China left us because of these last outbreaks. So yes, we worked very hard, and we did not lose them all. And we must, in the turnaround strategy, get a few back. We always say we want to be in the dollar, pound, and yen markets. We are 30–40% below world norm in terms of producer prices, so we are very competitive. We've got a very good product, and it's very inclusive because we source a lot of winner calves in the emerging sector.
So the turnaround strategy, speaking to the Minister, reading the media release, obviously I haven't looked at the what's being gazetted, but she spoke about vaccination and the importance of vaccination, that is going to be used as a strategy. And she said it's going to be a 3-week ban on movement of all cattle, reviewed weekly. Do you think that's probably the best approach?
Well, as I say, it is a state-controlled disease. We are very involved in the national and provincial animal health forums. That is where private enterprise sits and where the industry sits. And we also have a technical task team within the industry composing of vets. And that was made available to the Minister. So hopefully this decision that came was not only from government, it was also from industry. And I think they also need about 3 weeks to catch up with the vaccinations. And that will hopefully put us in a better position after 3 weeks.
So the Minister is not banning the movement of all cloven-hoofed animals, such as sheep, goats, pigs and some game. It seems to be it's partly a pragmatic approach because it would just destroy the industry. But how concerned are you about other cloven-hoofed animals at this point?
I'm not a vet, but I sit in a lot of meetings where this is being discussed. If you look 20, 30 years ago, the source of foot and mouth was buffalo from the Kruger Park. In this outbreaks in the last 3 years, we did not find any positive animals on the small stock side and also not on the game side. So I think it's a bit like COVID. This virus isn't the same that we used to know about 20, 30 years ago. All the animals that was affected up to now was cattle. And so I think the Minister got it right there. It wasn't really pragmatic, it was an informed decision.
Right. Talk to me about what has to happen to cattle with this disease. Do they have to be immediately killed? What's the plan?
It depends on your status. So once we have a status as a country that do vaccinate, that will change. But at this stage, if you do vaccinate and you slaughter within 6 weeks, then you lose the 5th quarter. Once again, no problem with the meat. So we need a new strategy in terms of selective vaccination. And then we can be at a position where a country like Brasilia is, where they still export internationally. They are very heavily involved in exports, but they are a country with vaccination. So it's getting to the new status, get our own vaccines, as I've already said. Currently, we import our vaccines from Botswana. We really have the expertise in South Africa to do it ourselves and to even do it better. And that will put us in a position to start trading again on the long term.
Yeah, that's certainly a lesson we learned from what happened during COVID-19, and we saw that we absolutely have that capacity. So let's hope we can utilise that to start producing vaccines against foot and mouth and get our industry up to standard. Thank you so much for your insights. Really interesting information there. That is, of course, the CEO of the Red Meat Producers Organisation, Gerhard Schutte.